All right, everybody, welcome to Parney's Pitch Around, powered by Dominion Energy. Sorry we're a little bit late, but we got a great show for you. My whole monologue that I had planned all day long messed up by the Wi-Fi here at the beautiful Diamond. So we're going to cut right to our first guest here in just a little bit. He's waiting lurking in the wings, folks. But Parney's Pitch Around, episode number Earnhardt, number 3. We're excited to have the all-time winningest manager in Flying Squirrels history and the all-time losingest manager in Flying Squirrels history. Dave McAmer will be our first guest. And then, on the back end of Mac, we're going to have switch to sports, folks. We're switching sports. We're going to talk a little hoops. We're going to talk a little life. We're going to talk a little friendship with my man, my brother from another mother, Mike Rhodes, head basketball coach at VCU, all coming up on this episode of Parney's Pitch Around, powered by Dominion Energy. Max on deck. We'll be right back.
Stay safe, man. See you when you get back.
Count on it. Gotta go for a bit. I'll be back. I promise.
At Dominion Energy, 1 in every 5 new hires is a veteran. We're grateful for the many sacrifices you make.
All right, everybody, we're back. And I'm getting a pretty nice echo, but thank you to Dominion Energy. That ad always gets me, puts a little tear in my eyeball. But thank you so much to Dominion Energy for powering this wonderful YouTube show. Guest number 1 is presented by Pepsi. And you know what you need with Pepsi? You need some ice with some Pepsi. Please join me in welcoming one of my favorite people in all of the baseball, Dave McAmer. Mac, welcome to the show, buddy.
Great to be here, Parney. So great to be here.
Well, Mac, we were going to have about 20 minutes. We have some technical difficulties. It's going to be more like 15.
Okay.
I got so many things I want to talk to you about. But folks watching at home, listen to this. Dave McAmer is a player, 1972 to 1982. You're like a Rand McNally map, Mac. You played in Stockton, Quad Cities, Salinas, El Paso, Rhode Island, Salt Lake City. You were a mud hen of Toledo and a Rochester Red Wing, 1972 to 1982. 29 games in the big leagues. You're born and raised in Michigan, right, Mac?
That's right, Benton Harbor. And
you got to play for the Detroit Tigers. But first, tell the story. We're going to hop right into it. You're a trivia question because in your first Major League at bat, you did what? Go.
Well, actually came up with the Angels. You know, I played second with the Tigers in my second year, but the first year with the Angels, it took me 7 years to get there, Parney. When I got called up, I actually got called up June 13th, 1978, and I sat there for 8 days. I didn't pinch run. I didn't pinch hit. The only thing I did was catch in the bullpen. Fregosi would tell me, go out and get a catcher's glove and a mask.
Wait. Jim
So I did.
Fregosi was your manager?
Okay. Yes.
Fregosi is one of my favorite people ever. I love Jim Fregosi. Continue.
He's the greatest. He's the best. So it's the skipper, well, before that, the first day I got there, I roll into Boston and I walk back into the clubhouse, and Frank Tanana's back there, my buddy, and I first day in the big leagues, and we actually got rained out that night, but all of a sudden Frankie goes, Mac, I can't believe it. How the heck are you? And I go, Frankie, I'm just happy to be here. Well, little did I know that Fregosi was in the training room when I said, I'm just happy to be here. He just went off on that.
Oh, don't cuss. We're on YouTube. Don't cuss. We're on YouTube.
Oh, no, I didn't. And then I just went, oh, shoot, hey, Skip. Yeah, sorry. Well, anyway, 8 days later, Parney, Minnesota, come to the clubhouse, see my name in the lineup, leading off. Bobby Grich had the gin flu of some sort. And I got in the lineup, leading off the game, take Jeff Zahn to the 3-2 mark, leading off, and finally on the 3-2 pitch, I got the fastball I was looking for, Parney, and hit it over the left field wall. And that was my first major league at bat. First player in history to home run his first major league at bat, leading off the game.
And you're the only one, right? Is that still true?
No, actually, there was two more. Kaz Matsui and Starling Marte did it.
Okay, but you're still part of a trivia question. So, folks, there you probably never knew that story, but Dave McAmer, all-time winningest manager in Squirrels history, homered in his first major league at bat, leading off the game. Only 3 people in the world history have ever done that in the big leagues. Mac,
thanks, Parney. I like that.
You like that? I could be your PR guy. Because we had some difficulties, we want to fast forward, not through your whole playing career, Mac. We don't want to discount that, but managing in the minor leagues, 1,640 victories as a minor league manager. Talk about all the years and what that meant to you, and what was special to you about being a minor league manager, Mac? Because you're truly, and I'm not just kissing up to you because you're on Parney's Pitch Around, you're one of the best of all time as a minor league manager. What was important to you as a minor league manager?
Well, and I'm glad you asked me, Parney, because I remember you used to coming into Altoona all the time, and you would come down to the locker room, and you were one of the GMs that really would come down and take care of the opposing managers. And I'm not just saying this. It was people like you that I go back and look at my career in managing. Sure, I had a lot of great players that played for me. I had a lot of exciting games and a lot of great experiences. But you know what? It was really the people, Parney, that I met at the ballparks every day that I used to come in, like a Ted Torno, yourself, all the GMs I had, Danny Mason in Rochester. I mean, I could go on, and all the GMs that I've had as a manager and as that I played for. But going to the clubbies, Joe T, and all these clubbies over the year, Jim Schmenkel with the Tigers. I can go back on and on and on, and it's about the people. I mean, and the players. It really was, and I loved every minute of it, Parney. You know that.
So do you remember this moment? I was a GM in Altoona. You were managing Harrisburg. Top of the 8th, the Altoona Curves beating your Harrisburg Senators 2-0. You load the bases up. You're coaching third base. A rainstorm comes over the mountain in left field. We can't get the tarp on the field. Tell the viewers the game was done. Tell the viewers what you said to me outside of your locker room, if you remember it, because it's one of the all-time classic stories. If there is a movie ever made about my life in minor league baseball, this moment is going to be in it. Do you remember what you said, Mac?
Well, I think it came about where I wanted to chew your rear end a little bit, and the players were going to hear it. But I love you, and don't take it personal. Wasn't that kind of it, Parney?
He came outside and he said, "Parney, I love you. You're one of the best. But my guys are in there listening to me talk to you, and I got to chew you out really good so they know I stood up for them, okay? And I said, Mac, do what you got to do. And you went up one side of me and down the other and then back and back over again. And then I think we had a beer like 20 minutes later after that. So that's one of my favorite stories of all time.
Well, the thing was, now come on, I kept telling the umpire, get the tarp on. Get the tarp on. And the next thing I know, when Irish
Pat Coakley.
Irish Pat, he gets over and gets that tractor and hooks it up to the doggone tarp. And he couldn't get the tractor to pull it out.
No, we
and
weren't getting that thing on there that night. There was no way.
Turned into a quagmire.
Quagmire. Mac, another thing when you were here in Richmond, and we got 5 minutes left. It's amazing how quickly the time goes. 5 minutes left. When you were here, I used to put notes in your helmet. Motivational notes. They were just from me to you. Nobody else saw them. Except for when you got ejected in Altoona. Tell everybody that story real quick. And again, we only have 5 minutes, so shorten it up.
Well, when I used to get Parney would come down every day and write me a little note. And in fact, I have a box downstairs in my basement that I have every one of the notes that Parney's ever written me, believe it or not.
Keep those to yourself, buddy. They're not all PG-13. Keep those to yourself.
No, well, we found that out that night when we were on TV or on video, because I went out and got running the game. And of course, my usual thing was to slam the helmet or the hat down before I kicked it. And then I walked off. But when I threw the helmet down that night, all the notes, because I kept them in my hat, spilled out on the ground. It was like a rainforest. It was just spilled out on the ground, and the camera panned in on one and went, whoops.
Yep. Yep. True story. True story. Mac, favorite manager you ever played for?
Jimmy Williams.
Jimmy Williams' son, Brady Williams, was our manager in Montgomery, and I got to have a bunch of dinners with Jimmy Williams. I love Jimmy Williams. I didn't know that about you. That's the
best.
He is the best. How about you look back on your managerial career? Answer this question. My favorite player to manage of all time was?
Rob DeWolf.
And why is that?
Because here's a kid that was with me my first year in Beloit. They were going to release him in spring training. There was something about the kid that I loved, and I still tell the story. I told Bruce, man, Bruce, do not release Oglethorpe. And I called him Oglethorpe because he looked like a librarian. Okay? I don't know why I called him that. He was about 6'3", gangly, and just looked like a nerd. And so he didn't do anything in Beloit, but there was something about him that I loved. One of the things was he loved baseball cards and baseball collectibles, and he used to help me out, and we used to go to card shows and stuff one another. Anyway, I talked Bruce into keeping him, and next year in '86, we won the championship in the Cal League, and all DeWolf did was steal 56 bases, 12 triples, 295, bunted, went at will, made plays. He made a playoff throw in San Antonio that we beat Kevin Kennedy later in El Paso when I had him there. This kid was an overachiever, just all out, never left anything on the field. Rob DeWolf, I love you. I love you to this day. We still talk.
I love it, Mac. You're such a wonderful person. 1 minute left. We loved you here in Richmond. We still love you here in Richmond. We celebrated your 1,500th win. I remember that night like it was yesterday. Really quickly, what's your all-time favorite Richmond memory that you had here as a Flying Squirrels manager?
Altoona, we were there the night that the big fella hit the home run. It was the shot heard round the world.
Wes Hodges.
God, my mind. Wes Hodges hit the home run. We waited in the locker room for forever. Ever and ever to see what was going to happen with the other club or how they were going to rule on this thing. And Parney, they ruled in our favor. We got the playoffs there, and it was just, we had a great celebration in Altoona, and then go on to sweep Harrisburg, and then, we got beat in the finals. But I'll tell you what, man, we had a club that just never said die, and I'll remember that. That was one of my greatest memories there, of getting in that doggone playoff my first year in Richmond.
I still have no idea, Mac, how Wes Hodges' ball stayed fair, number one, and went over the fence, number 2, in a
Yes.
driving rainstorm. We had
Number 2.
we had no business playing baseball.
No. Could not have made a movie about it.
Yep.
It couldn't have came out any better. It was like a divine intervention,
No, it was.
basically, and it was, and I'll never forget it. And then to go on, and then Stromsmo hits a big home run over there, you know, in the playoffs in the finals, where we got that win in the 9th that game, and then we went on to lose. But I'll tell you what, man, we had a bunch of gamers on that team, and the guys just, I love every minute I was in Richmond. I love the people there, Parney. You know how I feel about you. I'd give anything in the world to come back and do it one more time, Parney. I would.
Well, Mac, I think one of the things this pandemic's teaching us all is a perspective of what we've had in the past in our lives, and we certainly have had a gem in you. Folks, the all-time winningest manager in Flying Squirrels history. I don't know if anybody's ever going to beat it. 216 wins. 209 losses, but we don't talk about those, Mac. We only talk about the wins.
We got over 500.
There you go, baby. And your last thing, and we're going to a break, and then we're going to have Coach Rhodes. Tell everybody what your dream car is. Go.
It's a 1964 gold El Camino.
And my father has the same dream. We always joked about that. Dave McAmer, we love you. Thanks for being on the show. We look to talk to you again soon. Folks, that's Dave McAmer, presented by Pepsi.
Richmond,
Thanks for coming, Mac. Mike Rhodes coming up, VCU basketball coach here on Parney's Pitch Around, powered by Dominion Energy. Hey, we're back on Parney's Pitch Around, powered by Dominion Energy. Great segment with Pepsi and Dave McAmer. And now this is a first, folks, an absolute first in the history, 3 episodes of this show. We're not talking baseball. We're going to go over into the world of the hoopage, which is actually what I did in college. I set the all-time record for not scoring points in a game, 31 minutes against the University of Scranton. The coach told me not to shoot. 0 for 0 from the field, 0 for 0 from the foul line. 4 fouls, though. I had 5 to give. Please join me and welcome one of my best friends in the whole entire world, the head basketball coach at VCU, and Mike Rhodes. Rosie, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks for having me. I'm the third one. I'm fired up. I'm honored. I'm honored.
I don't know what you're doing at your house during the pandemic, but the haircut, you look skinny as all get out. You look awesome, Rhodesy. You ready to go or what?
I appreciate it. I'm getting ready for the season. I can't play, but I got to get in shape. So I'm working on it. As like many people, the first couple of weeks of the pandemic, that was a lot of eating. I had to change my ways, Parney.
Well, Rhodesy, we got about 20 minutes. Thanks for spending time with us on Parney's Pitch Around. We're going to go through a bunch of different things. We're going to have a lot of fun. This isn't going to be your normal interview because I'm interviewing you, so you wouldn't expect it to be normal, right? But talk about, you're a person of passion, and that's one of the reasons why I think you and I have connected. Talk about growing up in Pennsylvania, your love affair for basketball. When did that start?
Heck, second grade, my uncle, Mickey Hall, in was the JV coach, and he got the varsity job. I'm going to say like 81, 82. And I was his ball boy. I was his manager. Ended up being a practice player, and then I became a starting point guard. And my greatest memories were getting on the bus to be with the varsity team, and then being a player on the varsity at my high school in Mahano area. I lived in a small coal region town, Parney, that you played every sport, whatever season it was you played, to help your friends. And my town was a mile long, half a mile wide, a lot of basketball courts, and we had a lot of fun.
And I think that's another reason you and I have hit it off since I came to Richmond back in 2010, because we both have those small town upbringings. We had to play all sports and had a ball in our hand at all times. You ended up at Lebanon Valley College. You and I spent a lot of time together. Actually, you did a wellness check on me 2 weeks ago tonight when our season was canceled. Thank you for that. And we talked
You're
about
welcome.
this. How'd you end up at Lebanon Valley College? And talk about your experience there, because I think that really shaped Mike Rhodes a little bit into who Mike Rhodes is today.
Yeah, honestly, my senior in high school, we lost one game from the state finals. I got recruited by all different levels, but I was 6 feet. I was probably 155. I wasn't ready yet to play at the next level. I got recruited by a lot of Division II and III schools in the state of Pennsylvania. Pat Flannery, who from my area, he's from Pottsville, Pennsylvania. He recruited me really hard, and I ended up deciding on a school that wanted me the most. Yingling Beer.
Yingling Beer, baby. Gluck, gluck, gluck. Continue.
Absolutely. And I went and played for coach, and just an unbelievable experience. And as you know, Parney, not only was it a great learning experience and I got a great education, I was around guys that loved basketball as much as me, loved Pete, and we ended up getting rolling. We won a national championship in '94, my junior year. Coach Flannery left. I went through a coaching change, which was a great experience. I got to meet Brad McAllister, who was my coach my senior year, is another great mentor in my life. And the best thing about it, Parney, though, you know, the most exciting thing about going to Lebanon Valley College is what for me?
You got to play Messiah College
I
twice?
met Jody Smith there.
Yes, you did.
Who's now Jody Rivers. We beat Messiah. Let's just say that. But
hey, that's where everybody. I played
experience.
basketball at Messiah College. Everybody beat us. Okay, we high-fived each other when we hit the rim. And Rhodes, you guys won that. And you're right. Your best move of your entire life was what you just mentioned when you met Jody. Without question, you were a Ray guy of that relationship. You outkicked your coverage by a whole lot. And again, I know a little bit about that too because I did with Tanya as well. Lebanon Valley. When do you think to yourself, because you were such a good player, National Player of the Year? You didn't mention that. National Player of the Year. I'm going to say it one more time. National Player of the Year. When did you say to yourself, I might be a coach?
Early on in college, my sophomore year probably, I was like, I'm going to teach and coach, be like my uncle. And but I wanted to play, and I tried to play. I got a couple invites to some rookie camps. There was a strike that year, and I went over to France to play. And slow point guards don't stick around in professional sports very long. And I got cut. I went back and taught 5th and 6th grade as a long-term sub in my hometown, and helped my uncle's team out. But I knew I wanted to coach and be in the gym full time. I didn't want to teach. I didn't want to be in the classroom. And that was a great experience for me because I took it, I got a taste of it. And then I remember coming home and said, I'm not going back to school. I'm done with that. I want to be a full-time coach. And, I had 2 great parents that let me dream all the time. And they said, well, go figure it out. Go do it. And in May of '96, I interviewed with Coach Nunley at Randolph-Macon. And then I drove my Ford Tempo with about 280,000 miles down 95, and I've been here pretty much ever since.
Randolph-Macon was a foundation of your coaching career. When you're coaching at VCU and the Siegel Center's 7,700 strong for the 160-something time, Do you ever think back to your initial stint as a coach at Randolph-Macon, and what exactly did Randolph-Macon and what does it mean to Mike Rose? Because one of the many things I respect about you so much is you always talk about things you learned from in your past, your hometown, your high school, Randolph-Macon. You're big time now, and I don't mean that you're big time now, but you never forget what got you there, and that's one of the main things that inspires me about you. What did Randolph-Macon mean to you during that time?
That place, that's where I cut my teeth. That's where at a young age, at 25, I became the head coach, and I learned a lot. You also learn a lot through your mistakes, and the people there at Randolph-Macon, who are some of my dear friends to this day, they nurtured me, they helped me, they did. And what was great about that place is it's a basketball school. They want to win, but they want to do it the right way. So I never had to compromise my standards or our standards at Randolph-Macon to win games. We won them anyway. And some of the best relationships in the world are from Ashland, Virginia at Randolph-Macon, and I cherished that. That's where I learned how to run a program, not just coach a basketball team and be in the gym, but how to run a program, from learning from Hal Nunley and then so many great people around there.
So you and Jody used to go watch VCU play, right? I mean, when you were coaching at Randolph-Macon,
Yeah, absolutely.
So then you come down and you coach for Shock. I don't know, we could talk all night about the Final Four. Working with Shaka, look at that coaching staff that you guys had. It's like the Bill Walsh coaching tree. You've all gone on to be immensely successful. Talk a little bit about that time at VCU.
Well, I mean, it was awesome. Now, I'm not the most romantic guy, as you already know. For date night for us was a quick meal in the fan and then right over to the Siegel Center and bum some tickets off some of the coaches there at the time. But we loved being around VCU and downtown, the vibe, as you know, and I just always loved it. And we enjoyed watching all the games. And then when I had the opportunity to go work for Shaka, I never thought it would turn into this, without a doubt. What an unbelievable experience. And just being around all those coaches, Mike Jones and Jeremy Ballard, Jamie and Christian, Will Wade, Mike Morrell, all these guys that are now head coaches.
Yeah.
And
every
we
single
just
one
had
of them.
a lot of fun working really hard together. And we had a blast, yeah. And Shaka made it about the team. So we just worked really hard. I had a blast. We had a lot of fun. And win or lose, we came back the next day ready to work harder, and I had a blast. And what was great, they got to see their dad doing something they love at a place that we all loved, and that was really cool.
Well, I think about that often because my girls both grew up in a minor league ballpark right by my side. I see your kids, I see Jody and your family coming into the games a lot. At the same time, Tanya and I come in as well. It's really special to have your family there alongside of you. And I'll never forget, Rhodesy, when you came back from Rice, you and I hadn't seen each other in probably a couple of years. I walk into your press conference and they're ushering you, and you're the man, and you looked at me and you gave me a wink and a fist bump, and I think something about a Yingling beer later. But I'll never forget that moment. Let's talk about you love people as much as any person I've ever met. And certainly in Richmond, when I think of somebody that cares about others, I think about you. Where'd you get that from?
Oh, my mom and dad. My dad. I mean, my dad just never made it about himself. And I think I saw him have great joy in helping others. He was a high school football coach, a principal, and then he became a Pennsylvania state senator for 28 years. And, he used to say that his roar of the crowd was helping people. Some people, coaches, athletes, they love to hear the roar of the crowd. For my dad, his roar of the crowd was helping people. And I just saw that. My brother and sister and I think we have that spirit from him tremendously. And it's something he said once, and I use all the time. If you make it great for the people around you, things come back to you tenfold. And that's how it's always been for me. And I love to help guys become better players and better people. I love to help people that that can't always help themselves, or people are down on their luck. Like you're the same way, Parney. How can we help people that got knocked over? Let's help them up. How do we help them up? And I take pride in that. And when it's all said and done, people aren't gonna care about the wins and the losses. They're not gonna care how much talent. Were you able to help people around you? And we take great pride in that, and I do too.
Well, you're definitely one of those people. Let's talk, Richmond, Virginia right now, the pandemic, and then everything that's going on in the social justice. You've been at the forefront of that. Talk a little bit about, as the leader of your program, what that means to you as far as helping your players. And I saw a tweet earlier today. Some of your players were down at the monument earlier today. Talk a little bit about that, because that's something you and I privately have talked a lot about.
Yeah, today our whole team, our whole staff, and even our director of athletics, Ed McLaughlin, we took a team photo at the monument. And the one thing that I think you have to do as a leader, especially when it's in times like this, is you got to listen. You got to listen sometimes more than you talk. And I told our players that I'm going to support them. I'm going to listen to them. I'm going to hear them out and believe in them, and I'll be arm in arm with them. And I don't care what side of the aisle you are when it comes to politics. Everybody should be treated fairly. Everybody should be treated the right way. And do the right thing is what I say all the time to our guys. Do the right thing. And if you're not sure what is, go to people that could help you make that right decision. And our guys want to let the world know that they stand up against social injustice and racism, and I sure do as their coach, and I'm not afraid to put that out there. Now, I understand and respect everybody's political opinions. That's going to always be arm in arm with my players when it comes to fighting racism and fighting injustice, because I think that's the right. Not everyone thinks it's popular, but I'm not popular. I'm going to do the right thing and help our guys move forward.
Well, you're right. It is all about doing the right thing, and that's something. When I think of Mike Rhodes, that's one of the things I think about. Rhodesy, you got a big class. We got about 4 minutes left. You got a big freshman class coming in. Real briefly, talk about that, and then I'm gonna put you on the spot with a couple quick questions. But I do want to give you this opportunity to talk about your freshmen and then the squad that you have coming back for 2021.
Yep. We lost 6 of our top 7 players, and we had some bunch of seniors go on. We had a guy transfer out, so we have a lot of adjustments to do. We got to reload here quick, but I really like the vibe of this team. We're going to be very young. We have 4 freshmen that are really going to help us. We have 2 older guys, big guys that are going to be coming back. So I think the freshmen are very talented, and Corey Douglas will be our 5th-year senior who's got to lead the way, and Vince Williams and Keyshawn Curry as juniors, and then, of course, Bones Highland, our guy, Bones Highland, he's got to take a big step and have a great productive sophomore year. But we have some young guys and some new faces that could really help us, and got a point guard by the name of Ace Baldwin from Baltimore. So our backcourts, we're going to have an Ace and a Bones. So you got to be good when you have nicknames like that.
We can't lose with Ace and Bones. There's no doubt about it.
So
Rhodesy, you ready for the Budweiser hot seat for a second?
Give it to me.
We got to win one game. 5 alums of VCU. You get to pick the starting 5. Pick 5 alums of VCU to win one game today with them at their prime. Go.
Maynard, Gerald Henderson, Calvin
Duncan.
I'm going with Jamie Skeen and Big Shot Brad. And Big Shot Bradford.
I love it.
That's not bad.
No,
right?
that's
There's
pretty
a lot
good.
of points there.
That's pretty good.
Now you're gonna have some guys mad at me now. That's all right.
J-Rod and Darius, just some of your assistants.
Those guys are gonna. J-Rod's texting me right now. I'm sure of it.
One beer that you and I can have with anyone in basketball tonight. Who would that one person be?
Well, it would definitely be a Yingling Lager. And who would it be with? Oh, you're putting me on the spot. You did
really good with the starting 5. This one should be easy.
Who would it be? Larry Bird.
Okay, Larry Bird. How about
Let-
anybody in sports? Not just
well-
not just basketball. Anybody in sports? Who would that? Because that tells us a little bit about Mike Rhodes.
My idol is Muhammad Ali. That's my idol. That guy to me is on the pedestal above everybody. But MJ, Michael Jordan, who won it, right?
Absolutely. All right, how much time we got, Nick? Nick's falling asleep over here, Rosie. 2 minutes. 2 minutes?
Parney, baseball player would be Ricky Henderson. That was my guy.
Is that doesn't surprise me at all because you pop the chain and all that stuff. All right, Rosie, show our viewers I'm a stud athlete. We're pretending now. Convince me to come to VCU in 60 seconds. Go.
You got it. Well, first of all, Parney, the way you shoot the basketball, we're going to give you the green light from day one. So, and then
Duh.
People he's a take a play off, be an aggressive offensive player. We're going to play with great freedom. You're going to play with guys that can play like you and compete like you. And then the one thing, your competitive edge that you have, those guys do great at VCU. And we'll continue to improve you because we believe in individual development and player development and fixing your body, making it right. We got to fix your body first, then we got to make it right.
Yes, we definitely have to fix my body, Coach. There's no question about it.
And then every game you play at VCU and you run out of the tunnel, it's going to be a sold out arena, and you're going to have almost 8,000 of your closest friends going crazy for you. And then you're going to walk across campus after a big win the next day, and all those people with their faces painted, they're going to be sitting next to you in class. What a special place to be.
I'm ready to sign up. One final thing, Nick's giving me this. One final thing, Rhodesy, you were one of our celebrity hitters 1 year ago and 3 days, 368 days ago. You were one of our celebrity hitters for the All-Star Week. Tell our viewers on Parney's Pitch Around what that was like participating in that, because we were honored to have you.
Well, the first thing I did was go in the batting cage with Will Clark. Are you kidding me? Like the Will Clark, you know, that right there, I could have that was a bat drop and I should have left because my performance swing in the bat that day was, but it's just Michael Robinson standing next to him. And then of course our man, Mo Ali Cox, but just seeing these guys that you saw on TV as a young kid, and then how the city of Richmond had so much fun in that All-Star weekend. I mean, that All-Star week, that was awesome and a lot of fun. And it was just a cool environment. And I was like a little kid, even though I was one of the older people there, I was like a little kid with a jersey on, my hat on backwards going, can't believe I'm a part of this. And that was a special week. That was a lot of fun. I hope we get to do it soon.
No, I'm still going to therapy for the last one. Rosie, 30 seconds or so. Talk to your VCU basketball fans. A pandemic, we don't know what's happening. Give a final message to your fans that are viewing.
Hang in there, right? Hang in there with us, Parney, right? And wear your mask, socially distance, wash your hands. Tell everybody else to do the same thing, because the quicker we get through this pandemic, we're going to have sports and we're going to have VCU basketball back in the stew. And in the city of Richmond wants that, and we need that. And that's the best medicine we could have after a long few months here is let's do great stuff and get back to the stew and get Ram Nation wild again.
Rhodesy, thank you so much for being with us on Parney's Pitch Around. I love you, brother. You're awesome. And we'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks, Parney. Love you, brother. Be good. Thank you.
All right, folks. We'll be right back on Parney's Pitch Around for our question segment. If you got questions, send them to my man Anthony Opperman behind the curtain in the chat room. We'll be right back after this brief message.
Founded in 1996, SciComm is an award-winning IT systems integrator headquartered in Richmond with offices throughout Virginia. Their focus is on mid-Atlantic companies, healthcare organizations, educational institutions, and governments looking to improve their technology return on investment. SciComm is a trusted partner to deliver a range of IT solutions and services that keep companies connected. Named as one of the top workplaces in Richmond, SciComm is also the employer of choice for the best talent in the region and are committed to providing outstanding and memorable service.
I guess it was awesome. I could talk to both of our guests all night. Probably the first time ever that I've talked to either one of those people without having some sort of an adult bev in my hand, so that was a little weird. But anyway, we want to thank SciComm Technologies for sponsoring the segment with Coach Rhodes. This is the final segment of the night. Another Parney's Pitch Around powered by Dominion Energy. Tanya, I think we're having chicken stir fry. I'm hungry, so let's please make sure that it's ready. Anthony, what we got over there, buddy?
Well, actually, Dylan Cooper's just setting you up pretty nicely, big guy. He wants you to talk about upcoming movie nights, the schedule, and also wants to know what your favorite baseball movie of all time is and why. Thanks for that, Dylan.
Yeah. All right, Dylan. Well, we're really excited about the movies. 2 weeks ago today, we lost our season. Our staff and our fans and our sponsors and our ticket holders have all kind of developed a nice little scab over that wound, and we've just gone on and picked ourselves up off the mat. The movies at the Diamond have been so much fun. This coming Thursday night, we're going to have a League of Their Own, 7:35 showtime, 6:30 gates. Make sure, folks, you go to squirrelsbaseball.com / is it / Anthony? I think it's a / movies, and order your tickets. All the tickets have to be pre-ordered. This coming Saturday, the movie is going to be the one with Michael Jordan. And is that right?
Actually, we're going Toy Story 4
Toy
this
Story.
Saturday.
See, I didn't write it down because I'm a moron. Toy Story 4 this coming Saturday. Next Thursday night, Remember the Titans, Anthony. Remember the Titans next Thursday night. So that's, 9 days from now. And then the following Saturday, we finally have the movie that I couldn't remember with Michael Jordan, Space Jam. And we're on Saturdays, we start at 6:05. The gates open up at 5:05. Remember to order ahead. Remember to order your food ahead. Folks, this all helps us with our safety measures. If we know how many people are coming, we know who's coming for contact tracing purposes, and we know how much food we have to make so that we can do that safely. And so it really helps us if we all plan ahead. And honestly, I think that's one of the things that the pandemic is going to help us with. It's slowed us down to a screech, right? And we can plan more and think through things more. And so not everything's going to be bad. My favorite movie of all time, Dylan, baseball-wise, Bull Durham. It's our life. Bull Durham is so real when it comes to Dave McAmmer. Like Dave McAmmer that was on this show, he is the manager in Bull Durham. I mean, I've seen him do some of the things like that. Dave McAmmer is the manager in Bull Durham. Bull Durham is my favorite movie. Tanya's never seen it. We've been together 8 years. Every time Bull Durham comes on, she falls asleep. So she has insomnia. I just make sure we get Bull Durham on. Boom, night, night, tauntaun. But Bull Durham's my favorite movie. Another close one you might not think about, 8 Men Out. I'm a big Shoeless Joe Jackson guy, so I like 8 Men Out. And of course, the movie we had here last Thursday night, Field of Dreams with Joe Jackson is big too. Oppo?
Yet a reminder, if you have any questions for Parney, just simply ask them in the chat and we'll pass them along his way. Big guy, he brought up Mac being like the quintessential minor league manager and that classic minor league manager. I know you guys shared a couple of stories from your time together, but if you had to pick just one, what's your favorite Dave McAmer memory?
Oh, there's so many. I mean, the back in the early days, we were still finding our way. Ops, you were here with us. You remember what it was like. Like, we were still new to Richmond. We didn't always know where we were going, but we had fun every single day, and we just enjoyed each other's company. The players were constantly over in the office. Daryl Madej, just the names of these players. Charlie Culberson, who I saw on Twitter today with the Braves. So many guys. I would say the night in Altoona that he talked about when we were waiting for the final word. My daughters were with me because they lived in Altoona with their mom at the time, and so we all celebrated together. The kids actually handed out the champagne after we were declared the champions or the playoff. Probably that night, and then also when Reckless Kelly, Appa, we can't have a show without mentioning Reckless Kelly. When Reckless Kelly came to town and played a show, we had an autograph session, and Mac tried to grab the guitar out of Willie Braun's hands and play because Mac is a huge guitar guy. Those are some of the things that I remember fondly. I love Dave McAmer. It was wonderful to have him on the show tonight, and also Rhodesy. Mac is a legend and as a minor league manager, and Rhodesy is certainly, I mean, I wasn't just blowing smoke at him. I mean, he's big time in NCAA basketball. And we're very fortunate to have him here, and we're very fortunate that he wants to be here, and VCU is the job for him, and I think that's really special.
I very much remember that night at the Canal Club with the Reckless Kelly show and Dave McAmer and that segment on Flying Squirrels Insider that we did. I think we even brought the camera on the Reckless Kelly tour bus, which was maybe a little bit questionable judgment, especially back in the early years, but fortunately, we were able to edit that enough to where it was able to air on public broadcasting. But no, some great stories. And also, big guy, I want to make sure that you show off how we have honored Mac, for all time. This may be one of our best giveaways ever, the Dave McAmer Garden Gnome.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Appa. I should have showed that when Mac was on the show. This is on gardens all over the Richmond region. The Dave McAmer Garden Gnome. That we gave out, I think his third season when he was the manager here. Mac, we didn't have time. I mean, we could have talked to both of these guests for an hour each because they were both fascinating and are fascinating. Mac would be sitting at his desk like this, Oppo, like 5 minutes before the game typing, and I would come in and have his feet up. He didn't have his shoes on. I'd be like, Mac, the anthem's in 2 minutes. And he'd be like, oh, can you hold on 1 second? I'm buying a toy online. And he'd be shopping for toys because he's a toy collector. And we had a game in like 2 minutes. It was just classic Bull Durham stuff. So many stories that are just classic minor league stories because of Dave McAmer.
Yeah, no doubt. He's one of the all-time greats, and it was so much fun having him here in Richmond for those few seasons, and obviously great to see him again tonight. Big guy, we're talking about movies, and again, if you got a question for Parn, feel free to hit us up in the YouTube chat, and we'll pass that along to him. But talking about movies, we've got A League of Their Own coming up Thursday night, as you mentioned. What's your favorite scene from A League of Their Own?
There's no crying in baseball! It's got to be it. Anything with the Tom Hanks character, though. Again, going back to Dave McAmer, I guess that's the big thing of the night, right? Like, just classic baseball and unrefined and edgy. That was Dave McAmer when he was right down there. And Oppo, another thing about Mac, he used to always time the national anthem because he thought it should be 1 minute and 2 seconds. So we'd always have a clock on the national anthem, and somebody sang it too short or too long, he'd chirp at him on the way off the field, which got a little awkward sometimes, because we want everybody to be happy. But just classic stuff. Can't wait for that movie this Thursday night. And Oppo, I'm so excited about how people are responding to our movie nights. And again, follow us on social media because we have a lot of other events coming up at the Diamond throughout the course of this 2020 season.
Yeah, you mentioned the Tom Hanks character, Jimmy Dugan. I mean, I think Tom Hanks is good in so many things that he does. But Jimmy Dugan, that character, there's just so much depth to him. For me, it's that scene with Stillwell Angel when Stillwell's acting up outside of the dugout, and Tom Hanks as Jimmy Dugan picks up the glove and throws it at him and knocks him over and then shouts, "Ha ha, got him!" Just the joy in his eyes from knocking Stillwell off his pedestal. There's so many scenes such as that he provides all that comic relief. Hey, speaking of Tom Hanks, it's almost like a Tom Hanks weekend for us with movies in the outfield. Obviously, him playing Jimmy Dugan in A League of Their Own, but also him featured as Woody in Toy Story 4. So, big guy, question I didn't tell you about. Are you more of a Woody guy or are you a Buzz Lightyear guy when it comes to Toy Story?
I think when you wear the pants that I wear and act like I act, you got to be a Woody guy, right? You can't be a Buzz Lightyear guy. I'm all about Woody, and I think that he does a great job. I used to love when the kids were younger. Toy Story came out, the original one. I don't know when that movie came out, Ops, but I'm pretty sure my kids were old enough that I could fake like I was watching it for them when I was actually watching it for myself, because it's one of those movies that just has so many funny comments in it that you have to catch as an adult. And I love it. I love all those movies. I can't wait to see Toy Story 4. I don't think I've seen Toy Story 4 yet. So that'll be Saturday night. And then upcoming the following Thursday, let's remind our fans on Parney's Pitch Around again, remember the Titans, which happened right here in Virginia. Remember the Titans on Thursday, and then on Saturday, Space Jam with Michael Jordan. Maybe we'll get Rhodesy to come out since he wants to have a beer with MJ anyway.
Let's send out the invite. And, speaking of big guy, you brought up the pants. We haven't set up that Parney pants cam just yet, but I think we can't let a Parney's Pitch Around go without showing off what pants you're featuring today.
Well, I don't remember what we wore last time, but these are the new red pants. I think maybe we had the black ones on last time, but these are the red Flying Squirrels pants. We're the only minor league baseball team in America that has a special license from Loudmouth Golf, which is John Daly's company. And by the way, Anthony, I don't know if I've mentioned this to you before, but John Daly and I and some of our friends won the Dominion Energy Charity Golf Classic Pro-Am last year. Have I mentioned that to you before, Oppo?
I think I may have heard that around the rumor mill.
Yeah, and my caddy, the great Ed McLaughlin, and his hair were with us on that day as well. But people can go online and get these pants at squirrelsbaseball.com. And I want to thank everyone, by the way. Our merchandise sales have continued to be great during the pandemic. And also want to take a moment just to thank everybody for the kind words, the text messages, the emails. I mean, it's really been inspiring to all of us, Anthony. And you and I are close personally and professionally. And I think you can pile on how that's meant to all of us in this most unusual of summers of not having games. The way that people have responded to us has just been nothing short of tremendous, and we're forever grateful for it.
Well, that's a pretty good segue to one other thing I wanted to ask you about, big guy, and that is what's been your favorite part of the first two movie nights and having fans back in the ballpark?
Seeing other people. Seeing other people. And then just the looks on the parents' faces and the kids' faces when they come in and they get to touch the grass. I've been doing this for 31 years, Oppo, as you know. You've been doing it for a long time too. Walking on the field is like for other people walking into their office, but we don't take it for granted, I don't think. But we certainly aren't like the people that can come out here, bring a blanket, and actually watch a movie while they're sitting where, guys in the big leagues. Dave Justice years ago stood in right field for the Richmond Braves. You might have your blanket right where Dave Justice stood. And the list goes on, just hundreds and hundreds of famous baseball players. And now you're watching a movie on that field. So, this isn't the greatest of summers, but there's going to be great things that come from it. And I know that people probably get sick of us talking about how we have to stay positive. But honestly, Anthony, there's no other way to do it. And it's very difficult. My door, honestly, in our office has never been shut as much because it's tough. but we're all going to get through this together, and movies is just one of the ways that we're going to get through it together. So to answer your question is by seeing people and seeing people make memories during the toughest of tough times when a lot of people in a lot of communities would just give up, but our community will not give up, and we'll continue to work together to get through this.
Yeah, seeing all those smiles has just been amazing, and to have those people come out and just tell you and express how much they enjoyed it, and asking, hey, we'll be back, and what's coming up next, and just that genuine enthusiasm. I think that's the energy that I think we all crave. I think we're all adrenaline junkies when it comes to that. Like, we crave the energy of a packed stadium, and I think that's probably been the hardest thing about this, going through this with the empty stadium for most of the summer, is not having that energy of a game day. And it's certainly the movie nights to this point have provided some of that. And again, just the positive energy and positive vibes, that can definitely fuel a minor league baseball staff through a long day of work. So it's really been special, and definitely want people to continue to follow us on our social media channels, subscribe to the YouTube channel as we continue to have episodes of Parney's Pitch Around coming up, and definitely stick around, big guy, because we've got more announcements coming up soon about other Diamond experiences that we plan to roll out here in the coming weeks.
Yeah, Oppo, and yourself and our whole entire staff has worked together so diligently to come up with these experiences. And again, just being positive about the things that we're going to be able to do right to my right, that people are going to be able to make memories. So follow us. And Anthony, when you were just talking about the full stadium, it made me think of July 4th. Real quickly, I know we're running overtime. Nick's probably going to start having heart palpitations here in a second. But July 4th, thank you to our friends at CBS 6, and thank you to everyone that participated in the first ever made-for-TV show, fireworks show. We didn't miss a fireworks show on July 4th. Our friends at the city, Parks and Recreation, and Community Facilities really worked with us seamlessly, and we think, according to the numbers that we saw, more people than ever watched the fireworks at the Diamond on the 4th of July, which is totally ironic, Oppo, in the fact that there were no fans here. But we think upwards of 100,000 people watched that fireworks show on CBS 6. So I want to thank everybody for making that happen, and we're looking forward to what the rest of the summer unfolds and the future of Parney's Pitch Around as well.
And if there's some guests that you'd like to see featured on Parney's Pitch Around, definitely hit us up on our social media channels. Let us know. Parney's phone book and his phone is, he's got quite a few numbers saved up in there, and if not, he's kind of like Kevin Bacon, except with fewer degrees of separation from some other famous people. So, hey, ask it. We very well might be able to find some of those guests and get them on.
Absolutely. Well, I think, Nick, are you doing this to me, Nick? Yeah, I think he's doing this, Oppo.
All right, big guy, take it away.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for having us. Once again, thank you to Dave McAmer, who was here courtesy of our friends at Pepsi. And also thank you to our great friend Mike Rhodes, who looked awesome, by the way. He has a haircut. His face looked really skinny. Looks like he's been working hard in the Player Development Center over there at VCU. Rhodesy was brought to us by our friends at SciComm Technology. And then, of course, my main man, Oppo, who just does such a wonderful job running the promotions and everything else around here. We'll see you in 2 weeks, folks. If you have suggestions for guests, send them our way. We'll try to make it happen. Tell your friends about it. We love doing this show. We need a lot of people watching it. Thank you, Dominion Energy. Tanya, I'm on my way home, sweetheart. Have a great night, everybody. Have fun. Go nuts.